Welcome to the E-commerce Coffee Break podcast, where we share actionable tips and strategies to help you grow your online store and sell smarter. I'm your host, Klaus Lauter. In today's episode, we discuss how to conquer e-commerce and share insider tips from an e-commerce CEO. Joining me in the show is Wehbi, founder and CEO at sellthetrend.com. So let's dive right into it. Hello and welcome to another episode of the E-commerce Coffee Break podcast. Today we want to find out how to conquer e-commerce and we want to share insider tips from an e-commerce CEO. I'm really looking forward for this interview because the guest today is, I think, well known. At least you might have been on his website, very well-known website in the e-commerce space. Joining me is Wehbi. He is the founder and CEO of Sell the Trend, a platform that helps over 30,000 online stores succeed with dropshipping. And before starting his company, Rush was a Juno-winning and #1 Billboard music producer, known for creating the theme song for Netflix Queer Eye. He later combined the creativity with technology to build tools that make e-commerce easier and smarter. So let's welcome him to the show. Hi, Rush. How are you today?
Hey, Klaus. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really stoked to be on your podcast.
Rush, you had a bit of a journey from a music producer to an e-commerce innovator. So that's sort of very fascinating and very unusual. What kind of lessons have you carried over from your time in the music industry to building a platform like Sell the Trend?
The biggest lesson, to be honest with you, Klaus, is that in any endeavor, you really gotta think of the business, right? In any endeavor that you're after, if you are a painter, if you are a musician, if you are, you have a company that collects, garbage, or you are in an office, and any kind of endeavor, as long as it's work, you really got to think about the business aspect. I think a lot of the challenges that I have, even running Sell the Trend to this day, is I'm looking to create cool stuff. You know what I'm saying? I want to create, the best app. I want to create the coolest features, and I want to, show people, how easy it is to do this and that. And the reality is, like anything, you got to balance the business and the art of it, right? So I think of what we're doing at Sell the Trend is art to a certain extent. It's a creative process, right? So same thing with music is, it's important to balance the two so that not only are you serving the customer, but you're also serving the company and the employees that work for Sell the Trend. So that's the balance that I always challenge myself with doing.
I like the comparison that is in art. A lot of persons, when they start, entrepreneurs in general, I think, are more on the creative side. They want to try things out and figure things out and have a bit of a shiny object syndrome sometimes, at least me. So what are the biggest mistakes that you see when new sellers approaching your platform or you talk to new sellers? What are the biggest mistakes when they're starting out?
Yeah, so I think the biggest mistake is, there's really so many. I'm actually in the middle of recording a video about all the dropshipping mistakes that you can have, right? So, one of the first things that we see a lot of dropshippers do is they're trying to compete with Amazon and trying to compete with other established brands. And sometimes the challenge is we get a lot asked this a lot, is like, why should I start dropshipping? There's already an Amazon, right? But the reality is, people will buy from what they see in front of them first, right? There's always going to be the people that are going to cross shop and look for the bargain or whatever, but people are going to buy what they see in front of them. If they are on their Facebook feed and they see your ad for this great product and you have a really nice ad and a really nice landing page, they are going to buy from you, right? So the challenge is not to really try to overthink things a lot. Dropshipping really comes down to very, very basic, I like to call them bread and butter type of stuff, right? You find a great product, you build a great landing page, and you serve the customer, right? If you just do those three things right, you will succeed in dropshipping, right? So I think a lot of it is there's a lot of overthinking and there's a lot of there's a lot of misinformation as well, but definitely there's a lot of overthinking. Just do the things, and that's why we have a dropshipping course that is like really laid out, just like that. Do the basic bread and butter stuff, and that will be a great start for you.
Mm-hmm. I've been doing dropshipping for 7-8 years myself. So I know how difficult it can be, how hard it can be. It can be a roller coaster, can be very, very successful as well. Now, let's dive a little bit in people who have not heard about it or people who are thinking about it, what dropshipping actually is and where we are with dropshipping nowadays. I think it has changed quite a bit over the years.
Sure. So dropshipping really is it's the basic commerce. Think of it as you're buying something from a supplier and then you are selling it to a customer, right? And everybody does this. Think of it this way. If you've ever heard of Wayfair, Wayfair is actually a dropshipping website, right? Wayfair, the company, doesn't actually hold any stock on their own. They don't actually have warehouses and couches and all the stuff that Wayfair sells. They are a dropshipping company. It's just a massive billion-dollar dropshipping company. But that's really what they are. The customer is going to buy something from them. They were going to get the supplier to directly ship the item directly to the customer, right? So that's what dropshipping is, and really, it's really in the name. It's you're kind of like dropping the products off instead of actually housing them and then selling them, right? So dropshipping is really the basics of e-commerce. Buy something from a supplier and then have it automatically delivered to the customer, right? So it's a basic commerce, right? So and it's super popular because of the low barrier of entry, right? So you don't have to buy stock. If you're doing like FBA, fulfilled by Amazon, and all those kind of other models, you have to spend the money. You have to pay maybe $5,000 or even minimum $1,000 to send some stuff over to Amazon, and Amazon is going to take this massive cut. But with drop shipping, you don't have to do any of that stuff. You're not buying any of the stock. The stock stays at the supplier. You only pay for something once a customer buys from you.
Mm-hmm. Now, platforms which, as Shopify, when it came out years ago, lowered, as you said, the entry level massively. So it's very easy to set up a store, to get going. The biggest question, I think, is always like, what should I sell? What's the product that I should sell? I see this all over Facebook groups and also it's like people are just clueless what they want to sell. How do you help with that?
Okay, so when we started Seller Trend in 2019, we started as a product discovery tool, right? So all we did at the time is just show people the best products. And over the years, we've gone into an all-in-one application, all-in-one app, and we really are the one and only all-in-one dropshipping app, right? So you hear that name thrown around a lot, all-in-one, everything's all-in-one. Shopify is all-in-one, this company is all-in-one. But the reality is they're not all-in-one because they require two components. They require the platform, the actual e-commerce platform like a Shopify, but then you also require the other components. You require the automation piece, you require the finding the product piece, all that kind of stuff. Seller Trend really does combine everything. So if you're using Seller Trend, you don't need to use anything else. And it all starts with the product. It all starts with the winning product. Mm-hmm. And our winning products on Seller Trend are not an afterthought, right? We're not just tacking on the word winning product and showing you some products. So Seller Trend helps you because we have basically a lot of different winning product tools. We have like handpicked products. So, our experts are manually selecting those products, right? So making sure that they are not saturated. They're the latest in the market. They have all the great, winning product factors. But also we have, we were one of the first people using AI to find winning products before AI was like a popular buzzword. And then we have those components. We also have, ad finders. So if you want to find the best products on Facebook or TikTok or all of that kind of stuff, we also show that. So there's an entire suite of winning products. But the bottom line is we like to keep everything simple. So if you come on Sell the Trend, you're not going to get, overloaded with things to sell because you can just go to, the handpicked products, for example, to start, and you can just find products that are ready to sell right now.
Mm-hmm. Now with dropshipping, I said you can start with that, but obviously with Wayfair, for instance, you can make this a very, very, very big business. Now over time, you have to build up a brand. What advice would you give a new dropshipper on the way on how to start a long-term business?
Sure. So number one, you have to crawl before you walk, right? So number one is you have to be, consistent at something before you can really start to expand on it. So what I would do is start a dropshipping store that is a niche store, right? So maybe it's not a branded store. You're not selling one branded product and you're hoping to eventually, put your logo on it and, blow it out into an entire brand. Start with an actual niche store that has cohesive products about a certain niche, right? So if you're, love pets or, beauty or any of those kind of things, start a niche store that is cohesive, that is selling winning product, but also complementary products, so that when somebody comes to your store, they know immediately it's a pet store. They know right away it's a pet store, right? And then once you find that winning product, once you get your feet under you and you are good at, maybe whether it's marketing, whether it's selling online, whether it's organic marketing, whether it's any of these kind of methods to bring customers in, once you are good at that, then you can start thinking, okay, I have these products, I have this great winning product. Let me see if I can brand that product. And then at that point, then you can go to the next level. Maybe you can open up another store, maybe a single product store, or maybe just keep it in your store and put your brand on it and start expanding that way. But you have to understand something. Like I said in the beginning, you have to walk before you can run, and it takes money to brand something. It takes money because at that point you might have to start buying quantity. You might have to house some of these products in your own store, in your own warehouse. So definitely it's doable. Definitely it's the goal, because that's really when you can go from inconsistent sales to more consistent sales as you have a brand and you're building an audience and fan base. But like I said, you have to start slow and then get into the brand part of it later on in your journey.
Mhm. I think a very important part is having the right supplier. How do you make sure that the supplier is vetted, that you really get the product shipped out and there's no risks from that side? How does that work?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So making sure that you have the right supplier is, you got to think of the supplier as your partner in dropshipping, right? Like what I was saying in the beginning, you have the supplier who is going to ship the products directly to your customer. So you depend on that supplier to actually be, somebody who is trustworthy, somebody who is going to deliver quality products, somebody who is going to deliver on time and be responsive to your comments and your complaints. If you have a problem with a product, you're able to ship it back to them, and they will take care of you. So it's very important to have the correct supplier. On Sell the Trend, we rate suppliers that we have on the platform on a 5-star system, so you can kind of see, hey, this supplier is a 3.5 stars or 5.5 star, 4.5 stars, or any of those kind of things. So at least you can be a little bit more confident when picking suppliers. But absolutely, I agree with you, Klaus. Supplier is like, literally, like I said, it's your partner. So you got to make sure that you pick wisely. Make sure that if you are picking a supplier, let's say you're not using Sell the Trend and you want to vet suppliers on your own, make sure that the supplier has a good rating on whatever system that you are using, and also read the comments of the people that are using that supplier. Are they happy? Are they complaining about broken products? Are they complaining about products that took 3 months to arrive, or any of those kind of things? So obviously, I agree with you. You got to make sure to vet the supplier before you go forward and start listing products from that supplier on your website.
Mhm. When it comes to the market that you want to serve with your product, tell me a little about that. Do you go straight global? Do you start locally? What would be a strategy to get started with that?
So this is a really great question. We have a lot of customers, that come and ask us to say, hey, I'm in India and I really want to sell, these, I'm looking for Indian products that are going to work in the Indian market, which is great, right? And we do have those products. But the idea is you got to think of global, right? You got to think of that you are selling in a global environment, and there's no limitations, right? You can sell anywhere around the world. But of course, different markets will have different costs, right? Different costs when you come to advertising, let's say on Facebook or TikTok. If you're advertising in the US, you're going to have to pay higher CPMs. Or if you're advertising in, certain countries, you'll pay lower CPM. But again, the conversion rates might be lower, right? So it's important to pick the markets that are hot enough that you can get the right conversions, but they're not so hot where you might have to compete with some of the bigger players. So, if you're starting out, maybe you could go with Australia instead of the US, right? You pick markets that, maybe are not as hot as the US, but the conversion rate are still going to be there. And especially if you, let's say, you're writing copy in English, or you're familiar with the English speaking market, you can market to those countries. So my recommendation is, if you're starting, pick markets that are not the main big markets, but make sure that they're not so niche markets, or markets that maybe don't have the budget to spend on some of these products, so that you're not, pricing yourself out of the equation.
Mhm. I think you mentioned a very important part for dropshippers out there, and that is the rising costs of ads on Meta, on TikTok, all the platforms. They're only going up. What would be your recommendation for a good profit margin? Because I think that's a big risk, specifically for people who start new, that they underestimate the costs that are coming with running a dropshipping business, and then the profit margins are just too tiny, too small to make it profitable.
So make sure you're not selling really low priced and low quality type of products that you can't charge a proper price for, and you can't really charge a price that you're going to have some good margins, right? So we recommend you sell products that are $6, $7, let's say, that you can then sell for $35, $40, right? And again, the most important part is you shouldn't really be selling the cost. You should be selling the value, right? Don't sell the cost of the product from the supplier. Sell the perceived value to the customer, right? So you can technically still buy a product for $3, but sell it for $25 if it has that right value to the customer, right? So, and then make sure that you have enough margins. You hear that a lot, whenever somebody asks you, you say, hey, at least make sure that, you're selling it by 3x multiplier, right? Make sure you have a 3x multiplier. You buy a product for $3, make sure you sell it for $9. But the reality is that's not good enough, right? You're not going to make any money in a $6 cushion, right? So you have to run ads. You have to, get a subscription to Sell the Trend. You know what I'm saying? You have to make sure that you have enough margins to satisfy that profit margin. So make sure you sell the value and not the cost, and you'll be all right.
Mm-hmm. Talk me through how I work on your platform. What's my daily task on Sell the Trend?
Sure, sure. So right off the bat, the most important part you have to think of is that Sell the Trend, like I said, it's an all-in-one application. So if you start with Sell the Trend, you don't have to go ahead and go get a WooCommerce and a Shopify store, right? You can use Sell Shop. You can use Sell
Mhm.
Shop, which is our own e-commerce platform, and it's obviously fully integrated with Sell the Trend, right? So if you want to come to Sell the Trend right now, you can click a button and you can create a complete AI store within seconds, filled with winning products in whatever niche that you want, right? So right away, all the initial setup and the headaches of setting up a store, finding products, doing all that work, configuring it, and all that kind of stuff is kind of already done for you, right? So right
Mhm.
off the bat, you're already starting from a place where a few years from now was like it's going to take you weeks or maybe months to even get ready, and now you are already there, right? So the next step is marketing, right? The next step is what do you want to do? What is your vision for your store? Do you want to build the best pet store, the best beauty store? And then on a daily basis, once you have that initial store launch, which you can launch literally in 5 minutes, then you can start going, okay, let me add some additional products. You go to our, all the different product explorers that we have. You pick products that you like. You can see them there. It's easy to find out which are the trending products. Pick some products, literally add them to your store with a click or two. We're going to generate AI product descriptions and titles for you, automatically import reviews for those products for you. Obviously social proof is super important on product pages. Automatically import those reviews and launch new products as the need be, right? Like the most important part, you don't want to overstack your store with too many products. You don't want to be 100 products to start. You don't really need all that many products. So on a daily basis, you're literally adding new products if you need to, and then managing your orders. And you can obviously manage your orders with Sell the Trend, really easily. So that's really kind of like the day-to-day operation. Obviously, marketing, right? So whatever marketing channels you want to do, organic, social, paid marketing, influencer marketing, and then build your business slowly until you get to what we were talking about earlier. Is can you brand it, or do you just want to expand to more stores, more niches?
Mhm. You mentioned before that you have a online course to get people up to speed. How does that work?
Yeah. So when you sign up to Sell the Trend, even if you just kind of start a trial, right, you have access to a bunch of dropshipping courses. You have a course that is hosted by me, which is the Sell Shop course that tells you how to start a store from beginning and get your first sale. But we also have Shopify courses included, and we also have a marketing course included that takes you through the entire, because we know marketing is such a super important part of dropshipping. You got to sell the products that you're creating, right? That you're adding to your store. So we have a complete marketing course that takes you through all the concepts. What is influencer marketing? What is PPC? What is average order value? And not only that, but all the different channels that you can market. SEO and all those kind of things. So we have that course also included. And then our main mission here is not to just get you to subscribe to Sell the Trend. Our main mission is for you to make money from dropshipping, right? Because if you don't make money from dropshipping, we don't make money from dropshipping, right? That is the 100% the key. So, if you join Sell the Trend, we are always available for you to ask questions, right? We don't want to get to a situation where you get to Sell the Trend, you get frustrated, you're not really sure what you're doing, and then you just kind of like give up. We have a community here. We have Discord. We have email, chat. We want to make sure that you succeed. So so we have all of those resources for you available for you when you join.
Makes me a little bit jealous. When I started 10 years ago with dropshipping, there was like nothing. And I think I made
You're an
every,
OG.
I'm definitely, yeah, I'm a digital dinosaur, but I probably made every mistake in the book because it was so difficult to find good, reliable information, and Sell the Trend makes it so much easier. Can you share a story about someone who succeeded with Sell the Trend?
Sure, sure. This particular customer, his name is Robert, and he built basically a dropshipping store, a niche dropshipping store. And one of the products that he found on Sell the Trend, and this is the cool part about it, he found a product on Sell the Trend that is generating him $6,000 a week. From his store, right? So, we actually got written up about Robert on the PayPal blog. They interviewed him and talked to him about his journey. And the cool thing about Robert's kind of journey is that he found that product by messing around and, using the filters and stuff like, because I was talking to him, using the filters and all that kind of stuff in Sell the Trend. And he found this cool product that wasn't quote unquote a winning product, right? So he tried it, he put it out there, and it just took off, right? And he sells, so many of these items on his store. There's tons of these stories. There's even stories of people that, you can see them on some of our landing pages. People who are just literally happy to be making to replace their job. One of our customers, I was talking to her, and she basically said, "This is the most amount of money I've ever made in my whole life. I've done so many jobs, and this is the amount of money." And to be honest with you, it's not a huge amount of money, but it doesn't really need to be a huge amount of money, right? Like not everybody's going to be driving a Lambo, tomorrow, after a month worth of hitting this amazing winning product. People just need to think of dropshipping as a job, and we have so many different customers. Some making tons of money, some making enough to be satisfied, and they don't need to be running a million ads. They're just happy to sell to their community and to their audience. And there's so many tons of this. You can go on sellthetrend.com/success stories, and you can read a whole bunch of success stories as well.
Okay, I will put the link in the show notes, and people can quickly go to that page. Now, obviously, it's a very easy, relatively secure entry into the game of e-commerce. Where do you see e-commerce going in the next 12 months? Is AI taking over, or what's your prediction?
100%. I mean, I'm a huge proponent of AI because, you mentioned it, 7 years ago, 8 years ago, even 3 years ago, it was just like, the barrier of entry was so huge for anybody to kind of get started. And now that barrier has been shattered, right? So apps like Sell the Trend, have kind of shattered that entire barrier. And now it's really about, how can you market your products, and how can you execute your vision of what you want for this business. And that's why you see people that are doing really cool things on TikTok, organic campaigns, where they're not spending all this money on marketing. They just really like taking videos of their products, and they're going viral and making a lot of money. So in terms of where dropshipping is going, it's really only going to get enhanced by a lot of the tools that we're going to provide to people, right? And once that is done, once you have all of these taken care of, then like I said, it's really all about what you want to do with the store that you've created, right? So it's definitely an exciting time. And at Sell the Trend, we're always going to be adding new features as features come up and as customer feedback comes in. And so that's really where I see it going.
Talk me through your pricing structure. How does that work?
Yeah, so like I was saying before, at Sell the Trend, we have a couple of plans right now. We're thinking of adding another plan, due again to customer demand. But we have a couple of plans right now. We have the standard plan and the pro plan, the essential and the pro plan. And right now the price is $50 for the essential plan, and you get pretty much everything, right? You get access to all the winning products. You get an e-commerce store. You got Sell Shop included in that currently. So, really for a small, really barrier of entry, I mean, think of it this way. For that one price, you're really matching with a Shopify subscription that's $40. An app like Sell the Trend for finding winning products, maybe $30 or $40. You're adding another, for like a review app, that's another maybe $10. So you add all of those prices together, and with one price, you really got an entire e-commerce platform ready-made. So you can go again on Sell the Trend and check out the pricing. And we have a higher plan if you want maybe some more TikTok ads and then just more of Sell the Trend. We have that as well.
Okay, that sounds as an absolute no-brainer for that price. I mean, you just gave a good example. If you add on all the app costs that are coming with Shopify, you easily spend $100 or more.
Easily.
Before we come to the end of our coffee break today, Rush, is there anything you want to share with our listeners that we haven't covered yet?
To be honest with you, the only thing that I'm always, like we were talking in the beginning, I'm always very, we are going to build some really cool things, and we just want people to find the value and make money with our platform. And that's really what I urge people is come check out Sell the Trend and see for yourself what you can get with a Sell the Trend plan. We pride ourselves on giving as much as possible without kind of nickel and diming people and charging for every small little thing. Like I was saying before, I mean, I'll take the Pepsi challenge with Sell the Trend against any other application out there on the market. And if you give us a try, I'm sure you're going to be very happy.
Very cool. Yeah. Where can people find out more about you?
So sellthetrend.com, obviously for the website. All the socials are at sellthetrend.com. You can contact us on any of the socials. If you want to connect with me personally, you can go on all the socials at Rush Wehbi, Wehbi, and you can get hold of me personally as well.
Cool. I will put the links in the show notes, just one click away. And I hope and I think so there will be a lot of people reaching out to you, because Sell the Trend is literally the easiest way to get into e-commerce at this point of time. Thanks so much for your time today.
Thank you, Klaus. Thank you very much.